One man, 100 guests, 1,000 drinks. Drinking with Jason.
And hello there, you weirdos. Welcome to Drinking with Jason, episode number 22. This week, I am putting down some IPAs with Ken Rodder, who runs the Dumbbells and Dragons website. And is the name of the podcast also Dumbbells and Dragons?
Yes, it is the Dumbbells and Dragons podcast.
All right. So in order to talk about fitness, we are going to drink beer, which is always a good mix.
Always a perfect mix.
Before we jump into talking about whatever the fuck we're going to talk about, what the hell did you send me this week in the mail? It was a good gift.
Oh, I love the glass. I sent you a bottle of El Segundo Brewing's Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skull IPA. This is a beer that was crafted in conjunction with the amazing 90s, early 20-aughts wrestler Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I actually really enjoy it. It's a very easy drinking IPA. I don't know. I sent it to you cross country, so I don't know how it fared in the cross country flight. All right.
Stone Cold knows his beer, so I like it. I had no idea he was doing a beer.
Yeah. El Segundo is more of a regional brewery. They don't distribute. I don't even think they distribute outside of California unless you specialty order their stuff from InsideTheCellar.com. Shameless plug there, not for me, but for them. But his goal was to, because anyone who watched him in the 90s wrestling knows that he was always drinking like Miller Lite, Coors Light, Bud Light. And then he started getting into IPAs, and he wanted to create an IPA for the everyman and essentially getting more Miller Lite, Coors Light drinkers into IPAs. And I really think he's done it on this one. This is one of the easiest drinking IPAs.
Yeah, it's not super bitey, and I like a really bitey IPA, but this is good. This is good stuff.
And what I like about it is there's no sharp, bitter aftertaste. Because I know sometimes you're drinking an IPA and it'll just stick there for a few minutes after you're done. And I really don't get that on this one.
Yeah, IPAs are, of all the beers to have somebody who's not a beer guy try, that is the one you don't want them to do because they're going to hate it. But no, it's well done, Steve Austin. Do you know how into the process he was in making it?
Yes, he worked with the head brewer over at El Segundo, Rob. Rob, pretty much, because he's the head brewer, came up with a recipe. Stone Cold essentially said, this is kind of what I want my beer to be. Mm-hmm. Rob, the head brewer, came up with a recipe. They sat down. They were drinking a bunch of recipes. Then they came to this one. And Rob said to Stone Cold, if this isn't the beer, I'm going to release this anyway. And so Stone Cold Steve Austin was like, this is the beer. This is exactly what I want. It's a IPA for the everyman. And then they brewed it in mass quantities. And there was actually a huge release party last November for it. And Stone Cold was there, and the nicest guy. Like, you could not find a more down-to-earth, soft-spoken, just genuine human being than Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Huh, that's good to hear. Yeah. He was a big star.
And when you're used to like 50, 60, 70,000 people screaming your name night after night, he actually sat down and we talked for about 15 minutes about his podcast. And
just the two of you or with the crowd?
We were in this insanely crowded bar, and everybody was there for him because it was they were tapping the first batch of Broken Skull IPAs. And I asked him a question about the podcast, and he just sat down and spoke with me for about 10, 15 minutes while there's 200 other people screaming for his attention. So
very cool.
I mean, I was very thankful for that, just because when the people you admire are worth your admiration, I think that's something that's really important and very cool that he did. He didn't have to. He could have given me a 1-2 word answer and then moved on to the next person.
Sure. That's what most people do. I mean, when you're getting hounded by that many people, you know, you can't spend 20 minutes with everybody, but that's cool he did with you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So here's to Stone Cold.
Hell yeah. Isn't Broken Skull, isn't that what he calls his ranch? I think I've listened to his podcast a couple times. It's actually a really good podcast.
Oh, it's a great podcast. He's got the Broken Skull Ranch. He's got a television show called the Broken Skull Challenge, which is an American Ninja Warrior type reality show. It's on CMT.
Oh, I don't have cable, let alone country music show. Broken Skull Challenge?
Yes.
He's funny as shit, so I'll check out anything he's on.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. He made an appearance in Dallas for WrestleMania 32, and it was so great just to see him in the ring again. And he stunned everybody, and by stunned I mean, if anyone remembers the 90s, the Stone Cold Stunner, his finisher, he did that to everybody who was in the ring, and it was just awesome.
Very cool.
He was actually in the ring with Mankind Mick Foley and the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. So it was like my middle school years were being relived as I was watching WrestleMania 32.
Good old 90s wrestling. Man, that was good shit. WCW and WWF, that was awesome.
Oh God, it was so great. Here, I'm gonna try to. There we go.
And I talked so can't removed off you. But anyway, before everyone asks, no, this is not an advertisement for this beer. He just sent me an email saying Stone Cold had a beer, and I couldn't get a hold of it. So then you wanted to send it up to me, which I greatly appreciate. Thank you very much. And by the way, the other beer you put in there was phenomenal.
Yeah,
I liked that a
lot. Yeah, it was Three Weavers Brewing Extra Strong Bitter, ESB.
It's good.
And excellent. I'm not a big fan of ESBs. That one I thought was really good. And honestly, I can only send beer in 2-bottle shipments. And so I had an extra bottle of that. And I was like, Jason will like this. Put it in the box and send it out.
Yeah, I saw that, and I had the Broken Skull. I'm like, man, this got to sit in my fridge all goddamn weekend. But you sent a second bottle, so I drank that.
Oh, there you go. And this bottle has been sitting in my fridge for about 3 weeks now, since we first started talking about doing Drinking with Jason with a bottle of Broken Skull. So I was planning on drinking that weeks ago.
Oh,
so I saved it for you, buddy.
I appreciate that. All right, let's get into your shit now that we've plugged that ever-living hell out of Stone Cold Steve Austin for no reason other than he's awesome. Your website, Dumbbells and Dragons. What is the gist of this? What are you trying to do? I dig this. That's why. So normally this is it wasn't even supposed to be an author's podcast. It was going to be like authors, actors, anybody I really wanted to talk to. It turned into an author's podcast because those are the people I know, which then turned into a horror author's podcast. So you are an entirely different kind of guest. So I dug this, which is why I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So give me the gist here.
Dumbbells and Dragons is essentially, I am trying to break down the barriers between nerd and fitness culture. Everybody's familiar with the stereotypes of jocks and nerds, and never the two shall meet. My goal is to essentially break down those barriers and show people that you can embrace your nerdy side and you can embrace a healthy lifestyle, whether it's you want to eat healthy, work out every day, be a bodybuilder, be a CrossFitter, be a video gamer, whatever any individual wants to accomplish in terms of their nerd desires and their fitness desires. I want to be a community where you can embrace both. And that's why I started it, and it's been a complete and total blast ever since.
So if somebody goes to the website, what kind of content do you have? Like you're saying nerdy, and so are you doing like workout stuff people can do, or?
Oh, we have some articles on. We have some workouts on there. People can go if they want to start a workout. I was actually traveling a lot for work last year, and so I put together the hotel workout, which was something you could do in a hotel room or with machines that you can reasonably rely to find in a hotel fitness center. And I'm not talking like a big, huge Vegas fitness center where they've got like a commercial gym inside. I'm talking when you go stay at the Holiday Inn and there's 2 treadmills, a couple weights, and like 1 machine. So you can go on there to find some workouts. That's just an example of one workout. We do have others. Then it was also a couple of, excuse me, the beer is,
Bring it
making
on.
me burp.
It's a drinking podcast.
No, and then there's some articles I did about Tough Mudders I had run. I am such a proponent of the Tough Mudder lifestyle. It's all about camaraderie. It's all about getting those around you to be the best version of themselves. And so I talk a lot about my mudder experiences, which, in case anyone doesn't know, it's a 10 to 12 mile obstacle course race. Really intense, really amazing. I absolutely encourage everyone to do one. They're so phenomenal. Then I also cover health events. I was at the Natural Expo West. I cover bodybuilding events. I was actually at the Olympia competition in Vegas a few years ago. I'm going to be hopefully at the NPC West competition here in Los Angeles in June. And then we also cover a lot of nerdy topics. I have 6 other bloggers who are also blogging, and we've got a monthly column on tips to be a better dungeon master for anyone who is playing Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, so anyone playing Dungeons and Dragons, you can go and get dungeon mastering tips. We do movie previews. We do television show recaps. We just had a really awesome event where we did 3 straight days of Daredevil Season 2 recaps. So if you want to get our views and opinions on what happened in Daredevil Season 2, check those out. I know we're planning on every Tuesday, starting next Tuesday, is going to be Game of Thrones recaps. So if you want any Game of Thrones details. Yeah, apparently it's this thing. It's on this little-known network called HBO. I think it's based on some books. I don't know.
Yeah, it sold 1 or 2 copies, I'm sure. Game of Thrones comes up a lot on here. Everyone loves that shit.
It's good. I actually delay reading the books until the show because I don't want the books to spoil the show.
Yep, I haven't read any of them, so just going straight show. Till the books are done anyway.
What was that?
He makes me nervous. I've mentioned this on like 10 different podcasts, but he makes me nervous because he writes so goddamn slow. Like,
yes,
I'm always concerned he's not going to get them done.
Meh. So what? It'll be like, who's the guy? Stieg Larsson. Someone found a manuscript for the 4th Girl with the Dragon Tattoo book, and so they just plugged in the minor details. I'm sure that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, but I don't, when I read an author series, I want to read that author. Like, I haven't read any of the Bourne books beyond what Robert Ludlum wrote.
Yeah.
So, and I'm pretty sure they've been continued, right?
Yes. No. And you know what we should do is obviously George R.R. Martin should go to dumbbellsanddragons.com and do some of the workouts we have posted there.
There you go. Boom.
And then he will live long enough to finish the books.
You just saved Game of Thrones. Congratulations. So
I have found the solution.
beyond the website, you also have a podcast, which is when you had contacted me, you said, hey, I'll come on yours. You come on mine. And we did that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago. And your episode is going up next week. I love the podcast. The podcast is it's such my passion. I love it so much, and it gives me an opportunity to talk to nerdy, geeky, fit people who are into the same things, and I love talking. I'm not a big fan of writing, so blogging on the blog was a little tedious for me.
Mm-hmm.
But getting to reach out to people and talk to people and communicate and just motivate and inspire people via a podcast is so much fun. And if anybody is thinking about doing a podcast, starting them is super cheap and super easy. It's like you can really start one probably, if you don't care about the audio quality, for under $100.
I think mine cost me $45. This microphone, or maybe $50 for this microphone. That was it. I got it on sale.
Yeah.
That was it. Cheap, easy.
Well, even finding, I know you can host from Google Drive.
I was doing that for a while, but they started shutting it down when I was getting like 1,000 listens. All of a sudden, they were making my episode unavailable for a while, so I had to stop.
And yeah, once you get big, you might have to go over to an actual host like Blueberry, or you might have to pay for podcast hosting on SoundCloud or something like that. But that's the cost is so minimal. So if anyone out there is into podcasting, just do it. Just get yourself a mic and start recording stuff. Throw it out there.
It's fun. And let's be honest, your best episode so far has been maybe mine, right?
Oh, absolutely yours. Absolutely yours. I can't imagine ever having as much fun as I did
you might as well quit
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Might as well quit. No, actually, I've been on quite a few podcasts, and honestly, yours is right up there at the top of the most fun I've had. It might be the most fun. I don't know. I had a blast. We had a good time, man. We were shooting the shit, just talking about everything. It's fun.
Well, we did end up talking a little bit about porn, which I feel that porn automatically.
Okay. If we didn't talk a little bit about porn, you went off the rails there a little bit at the end.
Maybe.
It was a good time. So that'll be up the last week of April. So anyone who wants to hear me talk about porn and God knows whatever else, that's your episode.
Yep. Dumbosanddragons.com or iTunes, search Dumbos and Dragons.
How many episodes do you have up?
Tomorrow, I believe, is the 8th episode. We've been out for 5 weeks. I launched with 3 episodes and an intro. So there's a decent amount of content up there. And I have enough content to continue to provide people new stuff probably through the end of the year if I didn't do anything else. If I didn't record a new podcast. Yeah, I have a lot from the last year. I recorded a lot in the last year and just never posted them.
Holy shit. So they're just sitting there and you're just eventually going to put them up when you get to it?
Yeah. I know there's going to be some down weeks. And so what I'm saving them for is kind of like, I've called them the prequel episodes. So if you want to see where I am now as opposed to where I started, those are going to be the episodes that people can listen to.
Sure.
And still, it's all really great content. It's all really accurate information. It's just sometimes we'll talk about, are you excited for Avengers Age of Ultron to come out? And the other person will be like, yes, I hope it's really good. And of course, now we know that it was okay.
Yeah, that about sums it up.
Yeah. But so that's kind of where the old episodes are.
Starting to break up a little bit here on me.
I don't want to break up on you.
Oh, there you are. Yeah, man, come on. We haven't been together that long. Give me a
I
chance.
know, right? We should still be in the honeymoon period.
So the podcast, who all have you had on? Just so you had an author on. What else you have?
I've had you. I've had Joe Hogan from the Geektitude podcast. I had Kelly Hightower from Mating Habits of the Modern Geek, which is a sex and relationships podcast. That girl's amazing. She and I spoke for over 3 hours.
Jesus. That's a long time.
Oh, yeah. Not all of that is on a podcast. That's a really long podcast episode. I think the podcast, I try to keep them around an hour, ended up being about an hour and 40 minutes. But she is so funny. And I encourage everyone to check out her podcast. It's absolutely hysterical. So then I had Albert Daniel from Albert's Petite Sweets. He is a cake pop confectionery artist.
Okay.
And if you're wondering why, yes. And then I've also had a few supplement companies on. Joe Rakowski from Natural Force Supplements was on one of our, I believe our second episode, just talking about the supplement industry and things like that. So very diverse, a lot of really cool information. I try to bring people, not just me geeking out about stuff, but about information that they can actually use or products that they might actually enjoy using.
Okay.
Like a Broken Skull IPA.
We better get some goddamn retweets from him.
Right?
So, to the geeky stuff, what kind of stuff like that are you into? Are you a moviegoer, reader, gamer?
Oh, man.
Everything?
Right now, I'm big into Marvel TV. So, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter. Really excited about those. Love the Marvel Universe. Love the Marvel movies. Super stoked about Civil War coming out.
I'm dying for that shit. That's May, right?
Yes.
God,
May 5th. There are some showings early Thursday, May 5th.
Okay.
I'm also a bit of a gamer. You and I spoke about this on my podcast. I finally went back and I have started replaying Super Mario 64.
Mm-hmm. So much fun.
And I'm actually almost done with it.
Really?
So much fun. And I can get through it so much faster now. Like, I've only been playing it for about a week and I'm almost at 100% completion. Then comics. Right now, I'm almost up to date on the Saga series, which is a beautiful, amazing sci-fi comic book. And then I'm rereading the Lucifer series because I'm really enjoying that TV show.
Really? I saw that and I was like, man, that seems like a stupid idea. It's good, huh?
It might be my love for the comic is making me want to love the TV show. I think it was a really unique way to do the police procedural.
You mean with Lucifer?
Yes, with the devil having quit his job in hell. He quit his job in hell and he opened up a nightclub in Los Angeles. Like, that's cool. I like that.
Okay, I'd never heard of the Saga series. I've got it up here. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I hadn't heard of that. I haven't been in the comic book scene in a long time. I mean, I'm a big comic book fan. It's just with my time. I mean, I've watched so many movies. I'm into X TV shows. I obviously read a lot of books. I write books. Comics have kind of been pushed back, and I really need to get back into them.
No, yeah. Saga's actually what did it for me. I was at a comic book shop, just wandered in. A girl recommended it. I read the first one. I immediately ordered the next. And when I say first graphic novel, the first 5 or 6 issues, I immediately went out and bought the next 4 volumes of graphic novels. It's so good.
Graphic novels have kind of become a really big thing in the industry, right? I thought I'd heard that somewhere.
Well, they're so much cheaper than buying the individual.
Yep, I lost you there for saying so much cheaper than.
They're so much cheaper than issues.
Okay.
And let's be honest, reading 20 pages a month can be kind of slow. So it's a decent way for people to either catch up on a comic they've missed or, just catch up in general and actually get more than 20 to 30 pages of a comic book in one sitting.
Sure.
So that's why I enjoy graphic novels more than the individual comic books. Also, I feel the individual comic books are more for collectors.
Is that the way it's gone? Because I was really into this shit in the 90s, and you had to get individuals. There weren't really a lot of graphic novels then.
Yeah, and it's everybody was buying the individuals because they were like, oh, I'm gonna save these for 40 years and retire. And it was like, well, yeah, but because everybody is saving them,
right,
they're not as valuable.
Yeah, I've got thousands in the other room. They probably aren't worth shit.
Yeah,
but they're fun.
I'm kind of stoked because Veronica, my wife, has every issue of Deadpool.
Sorry, my dog's a douche.
Yeah, that's fine. Dogs can be douches. So my wife has every issue of Deadpool and first editions. And so everybody thought Deadpool was going to be a throwaway character. So that's number one that nobody kept.
Nice.
So
do you know what that's worth now? A couple $100?
No, because I think no matter what the cost, I would rather have it than that money.
Sure. That makes sense.
At some point, I would rather frame that and put it up on my wall, or I don't know, maybe try to get Ryan Reynolds to sign it.
That would be pretty cool. I wonder if having the actor who plays the character sign the comic, I wonder what that would do. Not that you just said you don't give a shit about the value. I'm just thinking out loud. I wonder what that would do to the value.
I'm not sure, because with every movie, you're going to have your supporters and your naysayers, the people who like it, the people who don't like it.
Right.
So I'm sure in some people's minds, the valuation would go down because, oh, Stan Lee didn't sign it, or, oh, the illustrator didn't sign it.
Yeah, whoever created Deadpool. I don't even know who did him.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna turn in my nerd card. No idea.
Rob Liefeld, and writer Fabian. I'm not going to butcher that last name. I don't know who they are. But anyway, got sidetracked into comic books already. That's nice. Before we get back into the nerdy shit you're into, I wanted to ask, you were just about to get married when I was on your podcast.
Yes.
How did that go? You're still alive, so it couldn't have gone that poorly.
Oh my God. Our wedding was incredible. The actual ceremony was awesome, but the Friday night before the wedding, I got a text from one of my groomsmen He's like, hey, we had to call an ambulance. We're on our way to the ER.
Oh, shit.
And I'm getting married the next morning, so I'm asleep. So I don't get it. And then at 3:30, he sends me another text that says, we're back. Everything's okay. We'll be at the wedding tomorrow.
So by the time you woke up, things had been ruined and been fixed.
Correct. And I was like, that's awesome. And so then the night of the wedding was amazing, like absolutely beautiful. We had such a wonderful time. To show you how nerdy we are, the recessional music that, after we kiss the bride and, we're Jewish, stomp the glass and walk out. The music we walked out to was the Indiana Jones theme.
Beautiful. Well done.
Oh, yeah. Super nerdy. And to give a little bit more nerdy side, mine and my mom's first dance, like mother-son dance, whatever it's called, was to Rainbow Connection by Kermit the Frog.
Oh, my God, man. That's hardcore.
Dude, crowd loved it. Our guests loved it. But so later that night, it's like 2:30 in the morning. We finally get done hanging out with all of our friends, parties, after parties, bars, whatever. So at 4:30 in the morning, my wife gets a text. One of our bridesmaids has gone missing.
Oh, so there was a little bit of drinking going on around this wedding, I take it.
Just a smidge. So we organized the search party. We go to her apartment. We go to the bar we were at. We're searching for her. So police are called because we cannot find her. Turns out she was passed out in the bathroom of one of the other guests. And so, all right. So she had a little bit too much to drink. She passed out. She forgot to tell people where she was. It happens. Trust me, I've done worse.
Sure.
But the fact that my wedding weekend, we had both an ambulance and the police called.
So I'm guessing the ambulance was for drinking too much.
No, the ambulance was just awkwardly for stomach pains.
What?
Like, one of my groomsmen's wives was just having stomach pains and didn't know what it was, so they had to go to the hospital.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, same weekend, ambulance called, policeman called, signs of a good party, check.
Well, those are the stories that you'll be telling about your wedding forever. Whereas, I'm sure you've been to weddings that you're just like, Jesus Christ, this is so boring. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Kill me now. So didn't have that.
Yeah. All I know is I went to a bar with a bunch of my groomsmen and a bunch of other people after the wedding, and we played shuffleboard, if people know shuffleboard, and I won. I don't remember playing at all.
Shuffleboard? What are you, 76?
No. The little you push them.
Uh-huh. I think that's big amongst the retiree crowd.
Not the ones with the stick.
Oh, okay.
Like table shuffleboard.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
You need to go to more bars.
Yeah.
You need to,
I guess the 3 days I go isn't enough.
Call Duclaw, because I know that's around you, and tell them to get a shuffleboard table.
Is this actually a thing at bars?
Yes.
I've never seen that.
Look up shuffleboard table.
Man, I go to a lot of bars too. I've never seen this. Okay. I'll look it up then.
All right.
Shuffleboard table. All right. I'll take your word for it. I'm usually there
man.
drinking, so I don't know. Not a lot of gaming going on. So, what other geeky stuff you into? Dumbbells and dragons. I'm guessing you're into Dungeons and Dragons.
I would love to be more into it, but I cannot make that a priority right now. It's just way too time intensive, and there's way too many other things I'm involved in right now that I can't spend a lot of time role playing. I would love to. I think it's fun. I think it's awesome. I think it's a great way to keep your mind sharp and use your imagination, which, to be honest, more adults need.
So you used to be into it. You're not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I was never really into it because, again, like in college and in high school, being a nerd was a lot of stigma.
Mm-hmm.
And so I never let my freak flag fly, as it is said. But a couple years ago, me and some buddies did some short campaigns. Actually got a board game that chooses your characters for you, and it's very quick. Instead of an all-day thing, it's like a I don't know, like a 1 to 2 hour commitment, like a game of Monopoly.
Okay.
And so we had a lot of fun playing that, but that was it. So that is something I would like to get more into.
I never got into Dungeons and Dragons. I was just, that is hardcore geek right there. Like there's levels. That's high up the list because you can't dick around with that. It's like you said, it's a huge time suck.
It is a big commitment, and I'm actually one of the few lucky ones. My wife actually used to DM or dungeon master, the person who would like create the campaigns and create the story for everybody. So she was always great at it, but it's not something that her and I have had the time to get back into, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, just so keep some of my readers happy. Are you a reader yourself? Graphic novels, of course. What about the regular novels, short stories, whatever?
Yes,
Audiobooks.
I love reading. I actually make a point to read for at least a half hour fiction before I go to bed. And right now I'm in the middle of a book called Skullcrack City. It's very Chuck Palahniuk-esque, if everyone knows who Chuck Palahniuk is. Guy who wrote Fight Club.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, of course.
Oh, he is one of the few authors that I will read everything they put out. Everything he puts out, I get hardback, day it comes out, usually finish it within 3 or 4 days because I love his stuff. Other authors, I've done that too, or at least other authors I feel the same way. Kurt Vonnegut, I love Vonnegut.
Okay. Yep.
Not even his popular stuff, like not even Slaughterhouse-Five, but like I think Deadeye Dick came into my life at a very appropriate time.
I haven't read that. I think from him, the only thing I maybe have read is Slaughterhouse-Five.
Welcome to the Monkey House it's a collection of short stories. It's phenomenal. I absolutely love it.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of the books that I like go back and reread. Or at least other authors. On the nerd side, Jeff Lindsay, who did the Dexter series.
Okay, I have not read those. Heard good things.
Yeah, books are so much better than the TV show. The books end so much better than the TV show ended.
See, I haven't read the books, and I don't remember what season I stopped watching it. I intend to finish it. Again, time. But
again, if you've watched the end of the 3rd season, do you know how many seasons of Dexter? Like, could you say that you watched at least the first 3? You'd remember
I got to
the
the
season
point where
finale.
he moved in with the blonde woman. They got an apartment together or something. He was dating her.
Rita?
You could say her name. It's been obviously years.
Okay.
That was as far as I
then
got. So that was
Okay.
season 3 or 4, probably.
Okay, things happened to Rita that we're just not going to get into right now.
Anyway,
actually looking at-
regardless, you like the novels significantly more.
Oh, they're phenomenal. And after the first season of the show and the first book, they diverge so wildly that
Really? Okay.
yeah, they're completely different from that point on. And the books are great. Although I will say Jeff Lindsay has a habit of talking way too much about Miami traffic.
Okay.
Like whenever Dexter has to drive somewhere, there's like a paragraph and a half describing the traffic. And I'm like, Jesus, come on, man. Figure it out.
When
Like,
you're in LA, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm
he
also
doesn't
like,
understand shit compared to you about traffic.
agreed. Like Jeff Lindsay, get your head out of your ass.
Oh, that's funny as shit. He talks about the traffic too much.
Traffic in Miami, you can suck my dick. No. I'm trying to think of what other authors I read. I love zombie books. On my shelf right now, lying unread, is X Heroes by Peter Clines, where superheroes become zombies.
Really? I don't think I've heard of that. Peter
There's
Clines,
about
huh?
Peter Clines. There's about 4 or 5 books in the series. One of the best sci-fi books I've recently read is The Historian by Rachel Bolin.
Okay. I don't know what that's about.
It's sci-fi, but it's like modern day sci-fi. So it takes place in the modern day. But time travel has been discovered, but it is under sole control of the US government.
Which is not what anybody wants.
Yeah. So they've created the Department of Time.
Of course.
Yeah. And they have researchers called historians who research specific days and specific time periods so that they can send people back in time but won't disturb anything.
Okay.
So there's no butterfly effect, so to speak. And there's some drama, there's some twists, there's some turns. One of the historians becomes aware of what is actually happening, and I don't want to spoil anything because I want to drive people to buy the frickin' book. And so she starts being hunted by the US government. And essentially people who are caught and charged with breaking time laws are treated like terrorists and enemy combatants, like very similar to Guantanamo.
Okay.
So I don't want to say a big portion, but a portion of the book is kind of an allegory for how we treated enemy combatants and held them without trial and other things of that nature.
Okay. So a lot of social commentary in it.
Yes.
What was the name of it again?
The Historian by Rachel Bolin. Bohlen.
Okay. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, it's fine.
I don't. What were we gonna say about the? I said social commentary.
Oh yeah, one person's view of what was happening. It's been out for a couple years now. What was happening, a few years ago.
Is this a self-published book?
It is a self-published book.
Okay. By Elizabeth? No, that's a different book. Okay. Yeah, okay. I found it here on Goodreads.
She's the... If people go to Amazon, she's the third or fourth result when you type in The Historian.
Do you know this person personally? Or you just found it and read it?
I do. Her and I went to school together.
Oh, here it is. Oh, got the plug in for the friend. Well done.
However, I will say that most people know that I take my word very seriously. So I wouldn't, pimp out Broken Skull IPA. I won't pimp out Rachel's book unless I've read it. I like it. The beer, I've drank it. I enjoy it. I've bought numerous bottles of Broken Skull IPA, which, if people know my drinking habits, to me, beer is Pokemon in the sense that I have to catch them all.
Okay.
To me, my favorite beer is the beer I've never had. So the fact that I go out of my way to have numerous bottles of the Broken Skull says volumes.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what.
People.
Tell Rachel Boland to get a different cover on that goddamn thing. That'll help. I speak from experience.
Yeah.
I've had to change covers. Because what you just described to me sounds epic. That sounds like a badass story, and I'm probably going to buy this book now. And I would not get that from that cover whatsoever. So
it is kind of a boring cover. That's a valid point.
Like, that story sounds amazing, and I'm looking at that. It's like, is that a textbook? What the fuck is that? So tell her I said so. God damn it! Like, because that'll mean something to her.
You got it.
So science fiction, huh? That looks pretty good. And I do like time travel. Time travel. I want to write a time travel novel at some point, but that is so goddamn hard to pull off because something's always getting fucked up, or
And honestly, how do you deal with it? Because the practical effects of time travel, if you go backwards, always affects the future, and then you have a paradox.
Right.
In my personal opinion, the only source that has ever done any justice to time travel was Back to the Future, like the Back to the Future series.
My man, that might be my favorite movie ever. It is perfect.
Agreed. And the way they deal with time travel makes sense, and there's no incongruities. I probably just made up a word, but I don't care.
I think you got stunned. Stunned. Stunned? Stunned.
I think you just made up a word.
I think I did. I do it a lot in my books. No, I've professed my love to Back to the Future to anyone that will listen. That movie is so goddamn good.
No, it's brilliant. And people might bring up Doctor Who as being a great example of effective time travel.
Mm.
Thank you. Because I'm like, unless someone can explain to me what the fuck happened during Matt Smith's reign, as well as what the fuck is going on with River Song, like, I still have no idea how that show, like, I love the show. Brilliant show. There are so many paradoxes that never get resolved. The show doesn't make any sense time travel wise.
Right. Yeah, I'm not a Doctor Who hater by any stretch or anything like that, but I wouldn't really point to that. Most people don't think of it as a time travel show, but of course it is, but it doesn't pop in people's minds. Quantum Leap was my shit.
I'm dying.
Yeah. I don't think the lungs like Broken Skull all that much.
No, that was the water. The water, I just don't know how to swallow. No. Quantum Leap was, first of all, I don't know if I've ever seen it. I think that was past my generation.
Oh, God. That
Before
probably
my
ended in
generation.
94 or 95.
See, I was 10.
Yeah, so it was a little before your time.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's on Netflix or something, but God damn, that show was so good. My wife and I have probably watched it 3 or 4 times. Just amazing. The first season's slow. Like, you can tell the budget was not there. But once you get, it's like actually like a lot of shows. Once you get past the first 3 or 4 episodes, shit really starts going. Like, I remember Battlestar Galactica was kind of like that. Have you seen
The
that?
new one or the old one?
The 2000s.
Okay, yeah.
The old one is like
Yeah.
excruciating for me to watch. Everyone's wearing fucking capes and shit.
Yeah. Oh man, I ran into Edward James Olmos at this award show, and I had to just like pinch myself to not freak out on him
I bet.
because I just wanted to be like, "So say we all, sir. So say we all."
So, okay, let me ask you then. If you had to pick your favorite television shows, let's say pick 5 in any order, or 3 or whatever you want. I know it's tough, but I always have a few that I go back to. And I tell people now, when I try to get people to watch Game of Thrones now, I tell them it is far and away one of my favorite shows ever. And a lot of people don't believe me.
Okay. 5 favorite shows. I have 3. Okay,
All
I've
right.
got 4. I'm trying to think of another one.
You don't have to. Give me 4.
Ooh. Okay, so
We're getting super nerdy here, so hope everybody's hanging in there.
yeah, number 1 favorite TV show of all time, show that I will rewatch till the day I die, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay. I'm going to confess something. I don't know that I've ever watched a whole episode. It was really big when I was in college, so I'm not fucking watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'm trying to get laid. So everybody's told me I need to go back and watch it.
It came out before I was in high school, but ended when I was in high school, and I came in around the 3rd or 4th season and caught up. Thank you for the explosion of DVDs. But like at the time, I was going through everything Buffy was going through, so I completely related to that show, like undeniably.
Sure. So the age lined up with you.
Yeah. And it was just, actually, I haven't rewatched it in a couple years. I think I need to go back and rewatch some episodes, because I've oftentimes when I rewatch things or reread things, I will change my affiliations.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever remember the movie Swingers,
Mm-hmm.
do you remember the movie Swingers?
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. John Favreau.
So,
I love that.
So first time I ever saw that movie, I was in college, and I thought Vince Vaughn was the best character. Vegas, baby, Vegas. Like, partying all the time. Like,
He was a super aggressive douche in that movie.
which I realized in my mid to late 20s when I rewatched the movie. So all of a sudden I was like, oh, yeah. All of a sudden I was like, oh, wait, Mikey's the good guy. So I wonder how I will feel about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, specifically with my thoughts towards Giles and Joyce, the mom and the Watcher. So I'm excited to see that. Number 2 is Firefly.
Oh, man, you just got a hard-on for Joss Whedon, huh?
Less so in some of his later stuff, but yes, I think Joss Whedon is really talented, yet incredibly arrogant.
What are you talking about? Did you see the commercial during the last election where he's like washing his dishes and then just like looks over and starts telling people like who to vote for? Did you see that?
No.
It was so fucking douchey. Oh, anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Like he just had an interview where he was talking about Age of Ultron. This was today, and how bad of an experience it was for him. And I'm like, okay, you had a bad breakup. Get the fuck over it.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, whatever.
Move on, Joss. Like incredible. Like I think my definition sums it up. Incredibly talented, insufferably arrogant.
Unfortunately, with creative types, that is so common. There have been several people who've wanted to be on the podcast, and I'm like, I don't know that we're going to get along. Oh, they're coming for you.
Oh, you can hear that? God damn it.
They're right outside your door, man.
Again. Jesus.
Okay. Next Joss Whedon show that's on your favorites list.
Not Joss Whedon. Motherfucking MacGyver.
All right. You've seen MacGyver, but not Quantum Leap? Quantum Leap was on right after MacGyver when it was on live. Or not live, but when it was airing.
It was the Richard Dean Anderson haircut. I fucking had that shit as a third grader.
You were rocking
probably
the
why I
power
had no friends.
Bullshit. That's why you had all the friends. That's why you've turned out great. You know how much power is in a mullet?
The power mullet. Well, it's good to know.
Have you seen my author picture? I'm guessing you have not.
I have. No, that's going to be the featured image when your episode of the podcast goes up.
Thank you, Wayne June. My narrator made that for me. No, MacGyver. MacGyver's one of your favorite shows, really?
Yes. I have
seen
the
it
complete
lately?
series on DVD. No.
Since you've been an adult?
No.
It hasn't aged.
It doesn't
the
age
best.
well.
It's funny as hell now. Like watching him interact with like inner city kids, and like there's this horrible rap, and he has like this fucking mullet, and like it's the 90s. Like if you appreciate the late 80s, early 90s period as much as I do, you'll love it.
Okay.
He lives on a houseboat for fucking no reason. It's just great.
Oh my God, he does live on a houseboat for no reason. God, I need to rewatch that show. That and Buffy. I don't know if I mentioned this on your episode, but there are still 2 episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer I've never seen.
How?
It's from the 7th season, and it's not the series finale, and it's not the penultimate episode, but the 2 episodes before that. I got really busy in school because I was in high school. It was my senior year, and I couldn't watch them. And then every time I've rewatched the series, which has been 3 or 4 times, I've skipped those two episodes.
Why?
Because once I watch them, there's no more Buffy.
So you're a little bit crazy.
Correct.
Okay. That's fair. Okay, so you went old school with all these.
Oh my gosh, I'm actually going old school with my 4th one. Saved by the Bell.
Jesus Christ. What? Saved by the What? Man, I was young when that shit was on and I didn't like it. I think my brother did.
Love that shit. I enjoyed the college years. I enjoyed the wedding in Las Vegas. Saved by the Bell. There is not one problem a preteen or teenager can be going through today that cannot be solved by an episode of Saved by the Bell or Boy Meets World.
Oh, see, okay. Maybe I'm a little too old for that. Like I remember Boy Meets World being on, but I think at that point I was in the girl chasing era, so yeah, I didn't give a shit. I might have been the same thing as Saved by the Bell. How old are you? 30?
31.
Okay, you're my brother's age, and my brother liked it, so maybe I was just a little too old. When you're that age, 2 or 3 years makes an enormous difference.
Oh yeah, and it's pretty ridiculous. And don't get me wrong, Saved by the Bell has not aged well. Like you go back, but you're like, you're only watching this for nostalgia value. You're only watching this for the camp. Like you're not watching this for good, decent storytelling.
So have you watched it recently? Like the last 10 years?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like when they started releasing all the seasons on DVD, I was just like, mine.
And how did that go? I haven't seen it since 15.
I mean, it was nostalgic and campy.
Okay, so you're not going with the best shows you've ever seen. You're going with your favorite shows that made an impact on you at the time.
Yes. And like for my fifth, like there's so many shows I want to throw in there. Like, and are we talking good shows? Like, do I want to throw in Breaking Bad, which I think is one of the most phenomenal shows of the last 10 years? Do I want to throw in, current shows that I love? Orphan Black.
Oh, it's so good.
Tatiana Maslany deserves all the Emmys.
Yes.
All of
It's
them.
embarrassing that she hasn't won any. It's embarrassing.
Every year that show is on, she deserves the Emmy for Best Actress for playing Sarah, and then she deserves to be nominated for every Best Supporting Actress slot for playing every one of her clones.
Yeah, she's unbelievable. And if anyone hasn't seen it, if you have Amazon Prime, it's on there. You have to watch it. And it's not one of these shows that the first episode isn't that good, like the pilot, and then you got to like slog through it to get to the good stuff. That shit is good right from the first 2 minutes. It's phenomenal.
No, it's so great. That show's amazing. She's incredibly talented. Robbed every year.
She even get nominated?
She got nominated for the first time this past year.
Who won instead of her? How?
The very nice lady from How to Get Away with Murder.
Never seen it.
I can't remember her name. Olivia Wilde. No, that's not it. Olivia Wilde is not it.
Okay. Sounds good.
I've
I don't
never
know. It doesn't
seen
matter. It wasn't Tatiana, so.
Bingo. And
like she should be doing big movies. She is good.
She is so talented. And like Orphan Black is only 13 episodes a year.
Yeah, she could be doing other things.
Yeah. So, I mean, also you've got the Game of Thrones stuff, which I think is awesome. Speaking of my fifth favorite TV show. But also, like, I think Walking Dead is amazing. I'm not caught up on this last 8 episodes that aired, but also Banshee. If people haven't watched Banshee.
I don't think I've heard of Banshee.
Oh, it's on Stars.
Probably why I haven't.
It's awesome. Such a good show. Very violent. So if you get squeamish, not good for you. But like Archer's great.
Archer's hilarious.
I'm trying to think of other modern shows that I make sure to watch every week. Oh, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
What?
Do you have Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
I've never even heard of that.
It's Tina Fey's Netflix show.
Okay.
She's a producer and a writer on it.
How long's it been out?
It had one season last year, and then it just had its second season. The second season aired. All episodes were released on the 15th of April.
Okay.
This show's brilliant. It's such good comedy. Such good comedy.
All right.
Like Arrested Development level comedy.
Shit. That's high praise.
Arrested Development is like such a brilliant show.
Well, actually, now that you mention that, because we're running down out of time here. Well, I mean, we can keep talking as long as we want, but I'm out of beer, so.
Me too. That's why I also picked up a 4-pack of something else to have before and after this.
Well done. I don't think I have any more beer. I'm going to have to hit the whiskey, which is usually not a good thing. Anyway, fortunately, I have one chapter left in my book, people. Stop hounding me. One left. By the time you hear this, the book is done. So, anyway, before we
Why
went
can't
live
you be
here,
George R. R. Martin?
this is the longest I've ever taken on a book, and people are pissed. And I can just tell them I'm not George R. R. Martin. So, before we got on here, we were talking about Shameless, which is a show seemingly no one has seen. I don't know anybody except you and my wife who've seen this show. And we talked about this on your podcast. We were talking about this before, and you said you were just starting to get caught up on the current season. You love that show too, right?
I absolutely love that show.
And it's so hard for me to get people to watch it. They're like, it just doesn't sound interesting. I'm like, but it's phenomenal.
Oh, it's so good. And it's you and I were discussing. Sorry, I've never had a stutter before.
Fucking Steve Austin.
But it's not one of those shows that I'm always itching to come back on. And I said to myself, I wasn't really super excited for this show to come back on the air, but I'll watch an episode or two this season, and maybe I'll watch it to the end. After the first episode this season, I was like, this is why I love this show.
The way you described it is perfect. We are the same way. I'm not highly anticipating the next season every time it comes on. I'm not like, when's it coming out? And then the next day I watch it, or the day it comes out, I watch it. But once I get into the next season, when I get around to it, I am just sucked in. It is so goddamn funny.
Yeah, and because there's no cliffhangers. I'm not on the edge of my seat waiting to see if someone's eaten by a zombie or, killed by Joffrey Baratheon. # no spoilers. And so it's just not something that's driving me to watch it every week. But when I have all 12 episodes sitting on my DVR, I will watch one after another, after another, after another, because it's that damn good.
Yeah, I love it. And when I describe it to people, I'm like, it's a comedy, drama, dramedy, whatever the fuck they call them now. But goddamn, the comedy is so funny. You just mentioned when we were talking before the big guy who's the neighbor, Kevin, I think is that. I don't know who that actor is. He is so goddamn funny to me. Like, he kills me.
Oh, he's brilliant. He
just
is
plays
so
this
brilliant.
Affable giant moron. It's funny as shit. And like, you'll see him do like the worst thing and just laugh because he's so good. You were talking about burning a handicapped man, like burned alive. And it was like funny as shit because of the way he played it.
He did not burn the handicapped man. I don't want you to get really angry comments.
Well, he didn't help. he did make the man handicapped. So,
people, just go watch Shameless. Just binge watch it right now.
Like the way we're describing it, it's like it sounds like a horrible show. Well, in that way, it is. Like most of these people are shitty people, and it's funny as hell.
And you're consistently rooting for them.
Yeah, it's really good. So anyway, people watch. I think it's a Showtime show.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
It's Showtime.
Phenomenal.
So good.
What's the guy's name? The father. I can't think of the actor's name.
William H. Macy.
Yes. If you like William H. Macy, he crushes it in this. He's the biggest dirtbag to ever live. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And let's be honest. At this point in his career, he can do anything he wants.
Yep.
And he is doing this show year after year after year.
Which makes him look like shit. I mean, he's nude at least in like 3 episodes a season. Dirty as shit, like drunk as hell, injecting God knows what into himself.
Yes.
Banging hookers under a bridge or whatever the hell he's doing. Funny as hell.
Well, and this season he's like skeezing cancer wards.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Which is just, oh God, his character is such a douchebag.
Yeah, the worst of the worst. Anyway, all right, man, I'll let you go here. Dumbbells and Dragons people, do you have a social media presence they can find you on?
Oh my goodness, yes. We are everywhere. We are on Facebook if you search Dumbbells and Dragons. We are on every other social media platform. Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest.
What's your Twitter handle?
At Dumbbells Dragon.
Dumbbells Dragon. Okay, because I searched for it earlier and I did not see it.
Yeah, Twitter, Pinterest, Periscope, Instagram, Snapchat, at Dumbbells Dragon.
Cool. Sounds good, man. And check out the podcast. I haven't heard the other episodes yet. It is on my list, but I had an absolute blast on it. I mean, I laughed my ass off watching or talking to you on that one.
Oh, it was a good time, man. I enjoyed it. It was one of my more favorite conversations, and I talk a lot.
Well, the porn, we talked about a lot of shit, but the night ended on your vast knowledge of porn. It was impressive.
Well, I had just gotten back from the Adult Entertainment Expo.
As everyone does.
First of all, it was on my bucket list. I went with the utmost support from my wife, which I was super grateful about. And my opinion was, as I'm going to say here, sexual health is very much a part of health and wellness. People can nerd out about whatever they want, and I just want them to feel comfortable embracing that, whatever it is they choose to embrace.
All right, man. You don't have to sell me on porn. I'm just saying it was an unexpected conversation at the end of Dumbbells and Dragons podcast. It was good times.
I mean, I also nerd out about fantasy football.
I don't remember that.
I mean, I wasn't on the episode, but I'm just saying, just so people can leave with a not porn taste in their mouth.
How much was I drinking? I don't remember talking about fantasy football. I play fantasy. I don't remember that shit. So, which reminds me, people, I guess watching in the future, not listening in the future. My fantasy league, I have fantasy league with all my college buddies, and the winner each year gets like a pro wrestling style belt sent to them. So I will be wearing that on future podcasts just to be an asshole. So look for that.
That's awesome. And it brings us full circle.
Boom. All right, Ken, it has been a pleasure, my friend. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Thanks, man. Thank you very much, Jason. Have a good one.